Brutal blood demon techniques. The many human-eating demons in Demon Slayer, many of them use blood demon techniques to toss around the Demon Slayer core, and they're all as dangerous as they can get. Today, we'll be looking at 5 blood demon techniques that are particularly brutal. We'll be taking a deep dive into how dangerous each blood demon technique is, so stick around to the end. Sleep. Sleep is used by lower rank 1, Enmu. Its sheer brutality in the Infinity Train arc is still relatively fresh in our minds. Enmu used his blood demon technique to put his victims to sleep and can control their dreams. He was known as a demon of sleep, and once you're under his spell, it's nearly impossible to wake up from it. In the Infinity Train arc, Enmu's technique was set up to activate when the train tickets printed with his blood were clipped by the conductor. Tanjiro, his friends, and even the pillar Kyojuro were put to sleep with this ability. However, Nezuko, who had the ability to burn away Enmu's blood demon technique, was still awake, so Tanjiro and the others still had a fighting chance. It's hard to predict how effective the technique would be against a demon, but just thinking of how things would have turned out without Nezuko. Tanjiro was actually able to wake up by slicing his own neck in his dream. He would wake himself up each time he was put back to sleep. Tanjiro's mental strength to be able to cut open his neck so many times. Even Enmu thought he was crazy. Then Kyojuro, well, a normal human wouldn't be able to move at all in his place. Kyojuro's instincts moved his body to protect his spirit core from getting destroyed. In Inosuke's case, Enmu can't look directly into his eyes, thanks to his boar head. So, he was the only one who could completely avoid the eyes of forced unconscious sleep. Then we have Zenitsu, who has a better time fighting asleep than awake. Even though he was completely asleep, he was shockingly amazing at protecting a good number of passengers. Unfortunately for Enmu, the set of demon slayers he was up against were basically his natural enemies. But any other demon slayer would have easily fallen prey to his blood demon technique. Even Kyojuro, though he was still able to move, wasn't able to fully break the skill on his own. It was thanks to Tanjiro figuring out how the blood demon technique worked and Nezuko's blood demon technique that they were able to beat Enmu. In any normal situation, it would be highly unlikely for so many of Enmu's mortal enemies to gather at the time. Enmu's blood demon technique is so brutal. It's practically his win as soon as his victim is under his spell. Clone. Clone is upper rank 4 Hantengo's blood demon technique. Hantengo can create a powerful clone out of whatever emotion he was feeling when he is cornered. Clones are just that, clones. Even if their head gets cut off, they can just create new clones out of the head and body. There was even a tactic that had the clones get their heads cut off on purpose. What makes this blood demon technique worse is that each clone has their own strong power set. However, though each clone has the upper rank's extreme regeneration speed, the more clones there are, the weaker each clone's attack gets. Hantengo's clones are created by strong emotions, so on each of their tongues, they have their corresponding kanjis etched into them. The one with fun etched into him is Karaku. His weapon is a maple-shaped uchiwa, capable of creating strong gusts of wind to easily blow people away and crush buildings. However, this isn't another blood demon technique, but the weapon's ability, so anyone who has it can use it. Specifically, we were shown Nezuko using it. The one with anger etched into his tongue, his Sekido. Almost like the leader of the clones, he's good at calmly taking in his surroundings. His weapon is a kakara that generates lightning. There's a system in place that prevents anyone with his cells to be affected by the lightning, so Tanjiro used one of the clone's leg to block it. The one with the happiness kanji is Orogi. His weapon is the ability to make sound waves that can even shatter metal. The one with the sadness kanji is Aizetsu. He doesn't use any tricky blood demon techniques, but he attacks with a 3-pronged spear. The final form after Sekido absorbed all the other clones is Zohakten. This clone can use blood demon techniques and attacks with 5 wooden dragons. It's also possible for him to create dragons in a wider range to attack. Because he's the result of combining all 5 clones, he can use each clone's abilities, making him a formidable foe for even Love Pillar Mitsuri Kanroji. There's one more clone, and that is Resent. He's identical to the original Hantengo, who has the fear kanji on his tongue. After realizing that even Zohakten couldn't keep off Tanjiro and his friends, Hantengo created this last clone to trick them into thinking it was the original. The original decided to hide inside the clone's heart, but this kind of fighting style, this kind of getaway plan makes it impossible to defeat him. However, in the end, Tanjiro was able to unlock the transparent world and find the original, leading to his defeat. Unless they had acute senses of smell or hearing, or they were able to see the transparent world, in other words, unless they were among the extraordinary, it would be impossible to go up against this ability. Infinity Castle. The creator of the extra-dimensional space, the Infinity Castle, was the new upper rank for Nakime. Nakime's Blood Demon technique is the ability to control space and the ability to scout. But, to simplify things, we'll just call it the Infinity Castle. Nakime used small eyeballs during the final battle to figure out the Demon Slayer Core's whereabouts, and she can summon any demon to the Infinity Castle instantaneously. The Infinity Castle itself is underground, so there's no fear of sunlight. Unless their head gets cut off, the demons have the upper hand. Nakime can change the massive space just by strumming her biwa, and she can send in anyone she likes. She sent in Muichiro against Kokushibo alone, then had Tanjiro and Giyu go against Muzan, and sent Shinobu to Doma's place. It was like she was trying to trip up the Demon Slayer Corps by giving them good matches. However, while it may seem that Nakime has full control, it doesn't seem like she can fully see everything at once, proven by the fact that Himejima and Sanemi Shinazugawa showed up at Kokushibo's place. Even if you try to defeat Nakime herself, because she can change her position as soon as you aim for her neck, it's nearly impossible to even get near her. By making the battle last longer, it gives the Demon Slayer Corps an even harder time and a worse disadvantage. It's true, Nakime's Blood Demon technique don't have any attack power, but it makes up for it by being annoying and troublesome. Thanks to Yushiro taking over her brain, he was able to take away her control over the Infinity Castle. But this feat would have been impossible for any human, even pillars. It was just because it was Yushiro, who was a demon with the ability to control sight, that he was able to do it. But in the sense of complete escape, Nakime's Blood Demon technique is the worst to go against. Ice. The ice-based Blood Demon technique is used by upper rank 2, Doma. He can create things by freezing his own blood and can scatter ice particles in the air to make breathing harder. Demon Slayers fight using breathing styles, so to take away their breathing is what makes this Blood Demon technique so brutal. A particularly strong attack he has is Crystalline Divine Child. It's the ability to create knee-tall ice puppets that are identical to Doma. These puppets can move on their own, even without instructions from Doma, record the battles, then send the information to Doma. On top of that, unlike Hantengo's clones getting weaker the more there are, each puppet has a strength equal to Doma. It's particularly troublesome because Doma can create as many as he wants. It's the equivalent of being able to duplicate multiple upper rank 2s. Even in the series, Doma created more crystalline divine children, depending on the battle's current situation, and had them fight the Demon Slayers. If they were let loose in the Infinity Castle, the Demon Slayers' breathing would be sealed away before they realized what was happening, effectively destroying the Demon Slayer Corps if Shinobu didn't have her plan. That's just how bad the Blood Demon technique was for the Demon Slayer Corps. Moon breathing. Created by mixing together total concentration breathing and Blood Demon techniques, the one who uses this is the former Demon Slayer, Kokushibo. He attacks by swinging the sword he made with his own cells and creating crescent moon-shaped blades. The blade can attack with no motion regardless of its shape or size, so it's impossible to predict his next attack. On top of that, the Crescent Moon blade chases down their targets. The Crescent Moon blades all change sizes and lengths, so they're also completely unpredictable. Also, there are 16 known forms of moon breathing, and they are the result of Kokushibo continuing his training even after becoming a demon. From the 7th form up, the sword gets bigger, his attacks get stronger, and his range gets wider. So it's hard for even pillars to get away or dodge the attacks. In order to fight back, they needed to focus on Kokushibo's muscles, not his blade, to predict his next moves. So they needed to be able to see the transparent world. In the end, he was able to grow blades out of his entire body, so he didn't even need the sword to attack. It took 3 of the strongest pillars and Genya's special ability holding him in place to conquer the Blood Demon technique. That's all for the most brutal Blood Demon techniques. Depending on the Blood Demon technique and the Demon Slayer's compatibility, some of these can get particularly brutal. The Blood Demon techniques we introduced today are particularly bad, and they all needed specific Demon Slayer to combat them. If there are other blood demon techniques that you think are just as brutal or just as bad, let us know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching. We have more amazing videos coming up, so subscribe to stay tuned. We'll see you next time.